Number one, where you're from, where you're tuning in at, what time is it in your zone? It'll be interesting to know how committed you are to this webinar. So those of you guys who are tuning in like middle of the night would show more commitment, of course. I also would love to know, what you're currently using Glorify for, what business and profession you're in, and why you're using Glorify would be great to know. So drop it in the chats. We'd love to know who you are. I'm seeing a lot of familiar faces and familiar names. So always nice to see Eddie Werder, Dave Ash, Christina Dennis. Familiar names, Karima Baraudi. What's up, people? And Walter Galeslut. Nice to see you here, man. We've got your product image for this one. So happy to show you a little design process for you guys. So we'll give it a couple of minutes as people trickle in. And like I said, as you're coming in, tell us who you are, where you're tuning in from, what time it is in your time zone, what you're currently using Glorify for, what kind of profession you're in, what kind of business are you running? We'd love to know. Hey, Chad. 11 a.m. in Delaware, not too bad. That's pretty decent time to tune in for a webinar for sure. High energy. We're coming into like mid-afternoon, 4 p.m. So, we're facing a little bit of that afternoon dip of energy. At least I am. I've been at it for the whole day. So you got Dave Ash currently using Glorify for Amazon images. I'm glad to hear that, Dave. This is exactly why we built Glorify in the first place. And we've meandered so many different routes in terms of features, but we always come back to the same value proposition, which is we've been always great at creating beautiful graphics and creation content for e-commerce businesses. And we just can't wait to, further develop our video features so that you can get more out of Glorify for your e-commerce businesses. I don't know if you guys have been trying out the video feature. You can now drop videos inside your canvas. It doesn't have animation features just yet, so you can just have flat graphics with a playing video, and you can export that. Definitely worth trying for your like Instagram stories and posts. It's super useful. But in this particular webinar, we're going to be talking about product images for Amazon. So perfect for you, Dave. So glad that you're here. Great, we're coming into 4 minutes. I think we can get started. So just want to call out a few other names. We got Maria Bard using product images for Amazon posts. Really cool, exactly what this webinar is about. We got Eric C, who's been using Glorify to solve a huge pain point in launching his e-commerce store. I'm really glad to hear that. This gives us so much excitement and motivation to show us what we want to show you today. With that said, we also got our creative director, Nico, in the house. Hey, Nico, how's it going?
All good. Hi, guys. Glad to see you here. A lot of people.
Great. And Nico, you're tuning in from, you want to tell everyone where you're tuning in from and what we've got planned for you guys today?
Okay. I'm from Italy. Maybe you know, guys, this. I'm from Sardinia, and I prepare some really cool Amazon images. Some are really basic, but I like to start from essential things like what kind of message, guys, you would like to give to the target, to your basically your users, and then I'll try to create an Amazon image for you, Walter, because I saw your product is really interesting. I saw also the Amazon page, but there are some problems in terms of design. So we will analyze together what are these kind of problems. So
yeah, exciting stuff, Nico. Looking forward to that. Just before you get started, Nico, I'm going to share a little bit about my story in Amazon, and then what will happen. So just so the agenda for you guys today is a bit looser than previously. I will share a little bit about my experience in Amazon and how sort of my success with launching an Amazon product, and then my transition from there to what we're doing here at Glorify, of course, right? And then Nico will show you the design process. Does that sound fair? Are you guys excited? If so, drop it in the comments. Let's get started. Cool. All right. So just to jump in a little bit about my story, I dabbled in entrepreneurship as a designer. I found my most ideal side hustle as e-commerce. As a designer at the time, I didn't understand a lot of business models at that period, at least. And this was the simplest business model to learn, just buying products, sourcing them from China and reselling them in Amazon US, right? It was, of course, a business model a lot of us can appreciate. And jumped straight headfirst into the model, and was really glad and delighted to know that a big part of the program was to create your own brand and your product images, which I had an unfair advantage, of course, within. And so I utilized all my design skills to really, number one, research my competitors, understand their brand and their narratives, and top hitting competitors on that page one, to figure out, okay, how can I really position my e-commerce product above all of theirs so that mine becomes the go-to seller. Interestingly, when I first launched my Amazon business, it was a infuser water bottle, and that at the time around 2000, I think it was a 13, 14, it wasn't very saturated, that market. So I came in the right time, and I utilized my product image design skills at the time using more industry standard tools like Photoshop and the rest to fashion a set of images. And what I noticed, like the top selling Amazon products in any niche utilizes storytelling techniques to take users through a journey through the image gallery, right? And the ones that don't perform as well are very flat and they don't really communicate much, right? Just basic product photos, right? Now, some of those tend to do okay, but if you're competing against a competitor that has a very strong visual brand presence, has beautiful product imagery, and then on top of that, takes you through a narrative, and avoid some of the don'ts, and you might find some of our the typical things that you should avoid. In our blog, there's a lot of case studies I've written about this. For example, avoid feature stuffing, like stuffing as many features in an image as possible people won't be able to focus on so many features in one image. So it's about, exclusively utilizing each image, the space on each image to communicate one set or a related set of features is really important. And on top of that, just kind of making sure that at each image, there's a different value proposition being sold so that, users are compelled to keep clicking to see, okay, what are the different, sort of benefits I can gain from this product? And of course, we all know an image sells so much more than words, right? And yes, your Amazon store copy is really important, the headlines and the bullet points, but let's be honest, and there's studies across many sort of statistics that there's many studies that run through online buyers. Typically, online buyers get sold on the product image. That's where the impulse of buying online comes from, is the product image more so than the copy, right? The copy is secondary, right? So if you get your product images right, you're going to be very successful in any e-commerce business for that matter, let alone Amazon, right? And in Amazon being, a marketplace full of competitors, sometimes selling the exact same product as yours, it's even more important to stand out using these techniques. So with that said, Nico, I'm really excited for you to show us your process, man.
Sure. Let me share my screen. Okay, can you guys see my screen, Omar?
Yep, perfectly clear. And guys, if for technicality, if you can confirm you can see Nico's screen, would be great, but we'll just continue.
Okay, let me check.
Yeah, people are saying yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, let's start from the beginning. So I think the most important thing here is basically ask ourselves, two different questions. So what do we want to communicate about our product, and how do we want to communicate the product in terms of, feelings, emotion, and style? So what is basic info, for example, colors, the size, or for example, special features. So we can use, for example, the lifestyle image for that, or materials, or for example, use case. How, as I said before, feelings and emotion. We can create different feelings and emotion using, for example, the composition, so the design layout, or using specific colors or typography, or we can even change, the feeling of our design using specific graphic elements or a specific imagery, means like photography or illustration. Obviously, this is based on your product brand identity, if you have one. Okay, so let's go here. So we have here different products. So this is a product of earbuds, and we have an image here from Eddie. I know Eddie, and this is the image I was talking about, the one from Walter. So as you may know, for Amazon, the first image should be, a really clean image. So we cannot do a lot of things. We just need to have like a really plain image. Maybe we can play a little bit with brightness, saturation, stuff like that. But this is what Amazon requires. So the one cool feature about Glorify is that if you have like a photo like this one, you can easily remove the background with this button. So remove background, basically it's just one click. Goes here, boom, it removes the background straight away. If you're happy with your image, you click done, and your image is ready. So your first image for Amazon is ready. Size for Amazon image is 2000 by 2000. So we place the product here in the center. We have the first image. So let's start building the other images so we can go for feature number one. So I'll create this image. So I want to explain one unique feature that these earbuds have, that is basically the AirTrack spatial audio. So in my opinion, it's better to show the product in use. So I have this image here. Copy and paste. And we basically use the same process. So we remove the background. Let me crop it a little bit. Move the background.
Nico, by the way, your screen is some part of your screen outside the window. Like I can see it's a bit cut, for example. I don't know if everyone's seeing the same thing. Yeah, so like it's slightly cut.
Better now?
Yeah, if you make the window from the right side a bit less wide, would be good. A little bit less wide. So how you had it before, like yeah, and then squeeze. Oh, there we go. Yeah, how you had it just now was good. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, it felt like it was going outside the edge of the right side. So
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's good. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so just remove the background and let's play with the design. So we can add some text. As I said, it's really important to pick, the right typography. So for a tech product, it's better to have a really clean typeface. So we can use maybe Inter. You can put some elements here. Special. Can really play with the composition, so you can have, like, for example, a little bit of hierarchy. So main feature on top with a different font, and the description of the feature maybe underneath with a smaller font. So here, let me take the copy from here. So basically, you need to have this kind of contrast between title and description.
Yes, it's very useful to have a plan before you go to the final design, right? So like having these kind of text ideas, you know, what you're going to do in your product gallery is useful because that you shouldn't be tackling image after image. You need to know, okay, what's image number one going to be? What's image number two, number three, number four? And then think about the user journey because they're going to be going in that same order. So what value do you want to communicate to that user? The first feature, what's important? You know, what's the biggest USP? What's the other must-have features that are, yes, common that everyone has, but you should also share that you have it too. But maybe it can be on the third image because these are very common features, for example, right? I think the process is very useful for sure, like doing almost like a wireframe as Nico has done it with little titles and little plans. It's all definitely useful.
So we are trying to explain this special audio. So basically, it's like a 360 audio that also have a kind of head tracker. So the sound is immersive with really simple shapes. So obviously, you can play with this design and create, use different elements, etc. But doesn't matter. The important thing is that you communicate this message with, simple graphics. Because you can have, for example, something like that. So as I said before, doesn't matter. I just copy, and you can play with the same concept, but just changing the graphics. So I remove these elements, take another shape. For example, I can use this one from our templates.
Yeah, that works quite nicely as well. It's interesting how some graphic elements from a completely different product can work so nicely for another completely different product, right?
Exactly. And also, as you can...
Yeah, go ahead, Nico, sorry.
No, I was saying that, as you can see, if the composition have, a great layout, so there is enough space, there is space for the image, etc. It's really easy to play with the design because everything looks super clear.
Yeah.
So it's not confused at all. So as I said, remove these, we add another element, and the design still works.
Yeah.
Properly. The message is perfect, Okay, so this image, we can say it's done, even if it's not perfect. Okay, and then let's say that I like to, one of main feature is that these keypads are waterproof. So I like to show you how you can, guys, use the effects from our effect library. So let's pick another product, another same product, but a different angle. So let's pick, yeah, maybe I can use this one or even this, copy and paste. Let's remove the background. Here, change the background. This color, I'm going to change it later. Then you go on the left panel, scroll down, go to effects. As you can see, there are different kind of effects: smoke, dirt, fire, but we are looking for water. Go here and let's pick probably this one. Here. and to the back. Maybe make this smaller. Duplicate the effect.
Oh, that's looking good. Yeah, I like that.
And we can play a little bit with the background, so we have, a better contrast, because as you can see here, the color is too light, so you cannot really see the water effect. So let's pick another color.
I'm curious, Nico, do you think gradient would look interesting on this? I don't know if you tried it.
I tried. It can be a solution as well. Maybe we can use like a radial effect, where we have like a darker color on outside and a lighter color inside. So let me show you. Okay, we have here.
So gradients is really simple, guys. On the color palette, just click the toggle on the color palette, and then you get two types of gradients. You got radial and linear in the drop down. So default is of course linear.
So as you can notice, I'm using a lighter blue for the center.
Yeah, pops, right?
Let me show you here. Even exaggerate this.
You can go as exaggerated and more contrast as you like, right?
Exactly, and maybe have the description somewhere, even here. Or even in the center. It'd be really interesting because they already saw the product,
Yeah.
So this is like an extra information.
Yeah.
So let me put this in background. Stuff like that, or you can even put in the background, make it bigger. I mean, there are a lot of options. This depends on your layout.
Yeah.
Okay, and then let's move into a call out image. So here I already prepared the design. I'm gonna go really fast because I like to move into this design, guys. Yeah. So I mean, here I use like the call to action element. So basically, it's the annotation tool here. I'm gonna replicate one of them. As you can see, there are two different images. So both of them, they are showing like kind of features. But the first one, I think, is much more useful if you kind of show some elements of the product, but that are like of the product itself. I mean, like
tangible, right?
Tangible, yeah. Like something, for example, this is like ergonomic. It has like a waterproof case, or I don't know, strong case, or you can even show what kind of material is that.
So these are things, Nico, if I'm correct, like you can physically see these features, and this is when you start to use annotation tool, right? To actually point at these features, and then you can use a different image inside the circle to zoom in and actually showcase even more with more close up, like.
So let me show you how you can do this kind of annotations.
Yeah, I think one would be very interesting, Nico, just to show everyone like how
just one.
Yeah, how do you make one? That would be cool.
Let me remove all the extra elements. So we start from the circle. So here where I want to put the image, and here you select the shape. You go on the right side at image. Okay, I already have uploaded some of the image. So you select the image here. And now the image is inside the shape. Zoom a bit. Now I want to increase the size of the image. like that is fine. Can change the background color as well. Give it the same color. And then let's use the annotation tool. So you go on the left side here, you have like the annotation, different option. Let's pick this one, circle one. So as you can see, the annotation here, you guys can see it properly, but can click and drag the annotation. So you can point the part you would like to zoom. So go here, you can change, for example, the pointer at size. So okay, let me refresh the page. Okay, 20. Line thickness as well, you can play that. Let's change the color as well. Let's put a darker blue.
Something a bit more like contrasting, right?
Yeah, you can even put like, I mean, red I think is too much, but
yeah,
just to explain that.
So it's like super clear, basically, right?
Yeah.
Maybe add it inside the actual color picker. There you go. Yeah.
We go.
Nice.
You can add text.
It's a very simple technique to communicate features very effectively. So it's definitely a no-brainer technique. But guys, I don't think you know, you have to be a designer to understand this concept. It's quite simple, right? Like if you're an e-commerce entrepreneur, look how simple this technique is. You have product on the left, and you have a nice magnification circle with a simple line tool. The design process and to make it actually look good is just some basic techniques. Look at the breathing room around the image that Nico's added. Like there's a bit of patterning on the top. Like I often see sometimes some of these product images where like there's no space, like they put everything to the edge, you know. And I often see this with Amazon images. You know, I don't know, Nico, if you come across these Amazon images where everything is like big text and pushed to the sides.
Exactly.
Utilize the space of your image. You know, like people can read the content because when you click it, and even, I mean, if you zoom out, you can still read it, right? This is on your screen. I'm sure you can see this image is quite small, but you can understand the value of the features. So
exactly, I agree. So, and as I said, I mean, you can use this kind of notation and call out image just for, you know, the tangible elements of the product, but you can also explain your product with the features like, you know, for example, for this product, you know, the duration of the battery, if it's waterproof, fast charge. I mean, these are just, you know, examples. So, and also I think is important to basically even change the layout sometimes, so we don't have, for example, everything in the center, or we have more or less, you know, the same structure. So for example, here probably is even better to, okay, let me duplicate this, even move this feature on the left and put the product on the right, like that. Here, as you can see, you can even see, you know, this effect we have in Glorify, that is the reflection. Let me show you how you can use it. So you select the product, you go here on the right panel, you add reflection. You can see the image here, and then what you have to do is basically play a little bit with the opacity and the blur.
yeah,
you can even move,
I think that could
reflection
go a bit higher in the Y value.
Yeah, you can play with it.
Yeah, looks good.
Something like that. And maybe I can show the icons.
Yeah, maybe just one icon will be interesting, Nico, just to show the process of creating, because I think something very important about your icons in this design is how on brand and consistent each style of icon is. And this is another thing that I see that e-commerce images miss. Like a lot of e-commerce images, it looks like the icons come from completely different designers, like completely different design language, and it just looks very inconsistent. So getting this iconography, guys, right is really important because it just gives more, just makes your brand come out as much more trustworthy, and so that's really important. So it's a very simple process, and Nico will show you that in a minute.
Okay, just go on the left panel, click for icons. Let's pick battery. And here, as you can see, there are different styles. I mean, it's up to us what kind of style we would like to pick. So let's say we want something really minimal, like this one. So what I have to do every time I have to pick a new icon is basically to try to replicate the same style. So this is a really bold style. So I have my icon here, and I have like a shaped container. Let's start something different this time with rounded corners here, and let's pick the same colors we have here. So I have my first icon here. Let me put the text here. And
align them up.
Yeah, align a little bit. Then, guys, what you have to do is basically create a group. You can do it with, right-click group, or you can even select both elements and Command G or Control G, I think, in Windows.
Yeah.
And then Command C, Command V, you duplicate, and you duplicate again. Now I have three different same icons. So what I have to do is basically change the icon and change the text. So I ungroup the element.
By the way, you can double click to edit as well, right? In the groups.
Yeah, you can do it.
Yeah. So you can group it, or you can double click. It's up to you. If you want to keep it in a group, you can edit things inside a group by double clicking it, basically, and you can So yeah.
Okay, so you select the second icon, and you replace the icon here. So let's put drop. Let's use this. And then once I am done, I can increase a little bit the icon size so it matches with the first one.
So there's some, as guys keep coming, keep your questions, let your questions keep coming. I see Abdul Kamali's questions, which I'll address in a moment. But I appreciate these questions coming in because we can address them later, all of them. If you do have a question, make sure you can drop it in the Q&A section so that we can find it easier. But Abdul Kami, I see your question right now, Kamale.
Okay, so yeah, I think it's done here. So
looking beautiful. Yeah.
Do you have any question, guys? Let me see the messages. Everything is clear.
Yeah, everything seems fine so far, Nico. I was looking at the questions, and we can go on to the next image if you wish, Nico. And then once the more questions comes in, we can address them together, if you wish.
Yeah, okay. Shall we start with this design, man?
Yeah, let's go for it. So we'll do a quick two more just like examples, and then we can conclude, guys. We'll go straight Q&A. So which one do you want to start with, Nico? The Walter or the Eddie?
I think the Walter, because there are a lot of problem, and the product honestly is beautiful. Because it
is a lovely product.
It's really, really, really nice product. And the thing is, I was looking at the images in Amazon, and as you can see, there are a lot of problem in terms of design and information. Everything is out of the place, so you don't know where you have to focus. So, for example, Walter, in this image, I see a little bit of text on top in the center. the logo in the center, and then you have like an award that is really important in the left corner and another award in the center. So I don't know where do I have to focus, you know, the left, right, center, etc. So it's a bit chaotic, you know.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can see we have the same problem on the other images as well. This is the one you also sent us. And guys, as you can see here, everything is so crowded. You know, even here there is no breathing room. The text, I mean, is on top to attach to the, I mean, the end of the artwork. So, and as I said before, I mean, I don't know where do I have to focus. And also there is an issue regarding a hierarchy in terms of, you know, product, text, etc. More or less they have the same size. So we need to play a little bit with text and the product. And okay, let me see if I can remove the background here in this complex image. Okay, let me remove the background. Okay, yeah.
So most of it looks okay, but you have to do a bit of fine tuning, looks like.
Exactly. So here I need to remove these lines. So I go here. I remove these.
Yeah, whenever you get like some images, guys, that are a bit complex or has lots of information in the background, you have to use the red and green tool, red to remove and green to bring back. Basically, that's the rule. Notice how, yeah, that makes point. Sometimes you have to pay attention to these details, because sometimes if your product has a little white gap, the AI is going to think that actually this is like a hole in the product, but it's actually not, right? So it's very important to fix that. Yeah, that looks good. Nice. It's incredible what you can do. Like the background removal, like the whole image it looks like a you know, a brand fresh piece of photography, you know, which is great. So
okay, so let's put the product in the center.
for those people who are struggling with basic things, you know, what Nico did there to crop the image is a simple double click if you want to crop. But on the right side, there's also a nice big button for cropping, so you can't miss it.
So, I mean, we have this information, right? So there are basically 3 different information. So this is the design that I made for, let me put it here and try to replicate some parts. So, I mean, obviously the design could be improved, but I think it's important to first show the logo of your product. You can place the logo, I mean, logo should be small, honestly. You can place the logo here on the top right, top left, or you can put it in the bottom here or here. Depends on the layout you would like to create. So let's put the product in the center here. And what you can do is basically you have this kind of layout. So title, in my opinion, should be, you know, really short and a description. So
yeah,
let me put this perfectly straight mounting. Okay.
I think if I'm not mistaken, Nico, if I can suggest, like the I mean, what you're doing looks great. The for a strategy for Amazon images, it's important that when you do these kind of typography bits like Nico's doing there, you have a title and body text or caption. The title needs to convey the most important information of the feature. So, you know, like Nico was talking about, there needs to be hierarchy. So your eyes look at certain information in an order and they can consume the information, versus everything is the same size and the same strength. So you don't know what information to consume, right? And this is the power of hierarchy, right? Look how Nico's placed the logo in a corner. You know, even though I have my screen, like, I don't know if you guys, but I've zoomed out my screen, my window quite small. even when the image is like that small, I can still read the Vogel's logo, right? And that's the power of a logo. Logo needs to be functional, both small and large, right? And if it's not, that's not a problem with your product image, because you need to make the logo bigger. It's a problem with your logo, actually. Like if you can't read it when it's small, that's a big problem. The second thing that Nico is doing is like the hierarchy with the text is really interesting, because you need the title to be readable in a small thumbnail as you're scrolling through Amazon and you're going through the gallery. The minimum the title should be legible. And I can read this. I can read ultra slim. I can take off my glasses and still read it, which is great because the title is big. But the caption is not as important for them to be legible until it's full screen, for example. It's not so important because you spark curiosity, they click it, and then they see, okay, here's a title. That's the feature. I already saw that feature, perfectly straight mounting, but let me learn about a bit more about this feature. And then they can read it in the caption, precise, soft installation. So secondary information that's not as important. But, it also encourages the user to click on the image to view it full screen as well. Like, hey, okay, I know this feature perfectly straight, but what else does it say about it? Let me learn more, So, and that's a good strategy that for hierarchy is that you keep some text small so that the big text draws curiosity and they want to learn more, and then the small text clarifies whatever they're trying to learn,
And also, you have this kind of really important badges that are, social proof about your product. So you need to implement these awards, but in a nice way, so that you don't place, in the design, so it makes everything a little bit confused and messed. So I will honestly think something like that. I mean, there are different options you can have, but as you can see here, you basically have like a block on the bottom where you have like the logo of your company and the awards. So everything is clear, but the focus is on the product. So you consume the information in this order, in my opinion. First, the product, because it's bigger, is in the center. Then this, that is one of the main feature. And then the bottom part, so your company and the awards. So there are three different levels. One thing you can do that I think is nice for your product is, okay, you have the text, you have the description, you can even add maybe, a little image that can, gives more attention and gives improve the message. So you can add here a square. Let's put the same rounded corners, more or less. You can add an image here. See if I have the pro. Okay.
Yeah, fantastic.
Obviously, I'm doing this really fast. Refresh. And once you are happy with one of these block, what you do is basically create a group, the same stuff I did for the icons plus text before, and you copy and paste, and you just play around here, find the right composition.
Yep.
This is obviously, this is up to you. I would honestly leave this part, empty. So remove this, because we have this block on the bottom. So it's easier to, consume and digest the information. If you want a different layout, you can use this one. So you basically have a triangle here. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Yeah.
This kind of triangle here. where the information
that's kind of like your layout guide, right? So the information is spread
exactly.
across that kind of layout, which is very
You
interesting, actually.
can adjust maybe a little bit because the information looks a bit too big.
Yeah. Just for Maria Bardesio, I see a question on how to keep storytelling going with EBC A+ content with the same images. It's a very good question. Actually, when I used to run my Amazon agency, we had challenges with that because we do a set of product gallery images. It's like, what more can we do on the EBC is always the question, you know, and like, how much more do we have to explain the product? And I'll get to that in a moment. So stay tuned. Yeah, I always see, you know, people try to make the product so big on the image so that it affects how much space you have to then add information and import information. But you don't need the product to be huge, you know, in every image. You can make the product huge in the first image, which is the main image, and maybe the second and third. But when you're actually communicating the features, just scale it down so you give lots of breathing room. Look how legible that is. If you notice Walter's previous image that Nico improved, like the text, I struggle to consume the information because when I look at that, I think, okay, what do I want to read first, right? Is the weight more important than the fact that it's ultra slim, or is it, you know, is there any relation between the ultra slim and the perfect straight mounting? Or they separate features? And then look at Nico's pieces where they've containerized the actual annotations are very simple straight lines, you know, where you can, you know, you don't have the elbows on the annotation. So you're not trying to search, okay, what is this trying to talk about exactly, you know? It's very clear. And then the images give further clarification next to each text point, you know, text feature, which is the best way to communicate features. I think you nailed it for sure, Nico. So yeah, I appreciate that.
You can even play with a darker color. This is up to you.
These are experiments, right? You can,
Yeah, exactly. These are just, you know, experiments.
Yeah, really light gray is interesting actually, because what it does, it makes the features pop a bit more, right?
Yeah, and you can even, I mean, increase the brightness of your product here. So if you go click on the product.
Yeah, let's try that. That'll be interesting to see.
Okay.
So effects, yeah.
Brightness. Maybe this is too much. Let's put like 5, 8.
Try the contrast as well.
Yeah,
If you do like brightness to contrast looks. There we go. Yeah. Nice pop, actually. Just about.
Yeah.
Nico, do you think we have a quick moment to, because Eddie's been excited about his image, I can see from the chat, so it'd be nice to showcase a little, because this is quite a tricky product, to be honest. I don't think we have more images to
no, we have just this one, so
yeah,
we remove the product, the background, sorry.
Yeah, maybe just a simple what's your thinking behind this one?
I was thinking, because you know the product is really bright, so probably it's better to have like a darker background. I mean, we can play a little bit. So
I want to understand the product. It looks like a gadget for a converter, USB.
No, I think it's a PC, right?
A portable
it's like
PC?
a Mac. Yeah, I think it's kind of Mac Mini, but it's not Apple, right?
Okay. Well, look, Eddie, I'm sure is here to clarify that for us. By the way, we're getting a huge thank you from Walter. His product showcase, he's got a lot of insight from our. So I really appreciate. Thanks for tuning in, Walter. Really appreciate it, and I'm glad that you got some value from these techniques and tips for you to improve. And yeah, would love to see how you take that on yourself. You know, if you ever need help, give a shout to our team on Discord. We're more than happy to help further. If I can get Eddie Werder's attention, if you can drop in the comments, you know, what is the purpose? Like, it would be nice to know exactly what your product does. But just as we know, like Amazon, the first image has to be on a white background. So, I mean, you could do all kinds of things to improve that. Maybe add a drop shadow for a bit of shadow or ground shadow. You know, so there's lots of options there. But like as Nico is doing the following images, you know, we need more product photos, of course, but just as an example, you can add a bit of color, just to make the product pop a bit more.
Okay, let me think. Yeah, you can even add, you know, the. Okay, let me remove this. Let's use the background. Maybe add a little bit of gradient.
Mm-hmm.
Like this. Let me increase the brightness.
Yeah. So Eddie was wondering if, how do we present the product with more color, and graphics. So just like Nico is doing, this is one way. And Nico simply picked the color directly from the product itself, the little blues inside the plug points. So there's some consistent feeling.
And also, I mean, if you want to do something that is much more, using graphics, what I actually do is, I mean, you can take the logo here. I don't know if Camrui logo. I think it's this one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I need the SVG.
Yeah, I mean, you could take that and maybe you can remove the background from that one.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit strange, but okay, let me try. So copy the image, go here, paste. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit low res. Let's try.
So we got some requests from Eddie afterwards if we can play with the shadow. He's wondering if we can add actual shadow.
Yeah, the thing is we need the SVG because I need to change the color here because my idea was to play with the logo in the background.
You could try if Nico, if you can undo one step, like try one thing. If you know the color overlay on the right side, yeah, you can choose white if you want. There you go. Yeah,
I think it's low res, man.
It's a little bit low res. That's the only problem, of course. I mean, depending on how big you want it. If you want it small, then it would work. But I see the technique. It's interesting for sure. Like you can have the big logo in the background. What if you made it very low opacity? Would it look okay?
Right. Yeah, the thing is, if you change the opacity,
from there, exactly. Yeah. That's not too bad. It's not too bad.
More, yeah. Or even you can even Eddie, you can even play with simple lines. I don't know. So you have these lines, right? So you can even play with this kind of stuff.
Like replicate.
Just to give a little bit of graphic, and don't leave it like super plain. So you can do something like that, where you have this kind of stuff like that.
So Ben Mel's asking, how can we import an AI logo? There's a lot of converters, Ben, to change your AI logo to SVG first. And once it's SVG, it's compatible with Glorify. Simply drag and drop, and you're ready to go with the SVG. Yeah, Nico, there's one last request before we conclude. We're coming to the end. I think what Eddie wants to see is, do you think we can try to add a shadow to the product? He wants to see.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. I mean, ground shadow, not really, probably a drop shadow.
Yeah. I mean, you could also use ground shadow, but you have to scale it basically, like quite a. Yeah, and maybe like in the y-axis, if you drop it, might be interesting. Like down, yeah. Exactly. That's quite nice. It actually looks like it's standing on a surface, which is really good.
If you want, you can even add like an effect here. So like something like that. I don't know if it's gonna look.
No, that's nice. Yeah. Why not?
I don't know. I can try.
Yeah, it actually just depends on the brand, right? Like if the brand is more about shiny objects, then you can, and the marketing, because I see a lot of images like this in PC World, that's a big UK brand. Even when they put a MacBook, they put the glimmers on it. So it really depends on what kind of promotional material you want.
Yeah, I mean, you can play a lot with this. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, fantastic, man. Appreciate it. Guys, that's all we have time for today. But thanks for your feedback. I'm going to quickly go through questions and then we'll conclude. Stay till the end because we have a few little announcements that's really important for you guys to check out. We've got some cool stuff to announce. So stick around. So let's just tune in. Let me just find those questions. Where are the Q&A? There we go. So 5 Q&As. How do we view multiple canvases at the same time? So Dave, Glorify now, since our 3.0 launch, we've built it on an infinite canvas technology. The simple way of doing it is, number one, if Nico, you can show how to drag and drop a canvas on so we have the canvas tool on the bottom left, which is there. And you click it and you draw anywhere on the canvas. And the way the canvas tool works is very interesting because if you're familiar with Figma and other tools, is that to make an object inside the canvas, you have to drag it inside the canvas. So if you can show, so this is when that object is now officially inside the canvas, right? Like Nico showed. And Nico, if you slowly drag it outside the canvas, the moment it pops out, if you can just bring it close to the canvas, so overlay it. So even though a bit higher. So even though it's like on the canvas, you can see it's not in the canvas yet. You have to literally physically bring it in until the canvas actually chops the object. If you can see now, the canvas is chopping the object because you have literally dragged and dropped it in the canvas with your mouse inside the canvas. But if the moment your mouse comes out of the canvas with the object dragged is the moment it comes out. So if you notice, slowly drag it out and see the moment it pops out. There you go. See, pops out, pops in, pops out. So that's how your infinite canvas technology works. Another way to duplicate canvas is select the text on the canvas, the title, and then you can copy paste, you can Command D and duplicate, or right click and duplicate. There's so many ways to do it, of course. Yeah. So that's how we do multiple canvases. Likewise, you can go to the templates library on the top left add menu and add as many templates as you like. How do you keep the storytelling going when using EBC and plus content? This is a very good question. EBC is just an opportunity for users to see more brand presence, right? I know the TNCs, Maria, is much more stronger on your main Amazon gallery. So like the terms and conditions means that there's a lot of things you can't adhere to on there. Like you can't show certain graphics, you can't communicate things that are they would deem as irrelevant, even though you might think it's relevant. So the terms and conditions for product gallery, the main product gallery, is very nuanced. So you can utilize the EBC content as a space to showcase more of your brand, right? And tell your story. And so what that could include is your company, your production, your culture, your values, things like that can be showcased. So when we did a baby safe brand, for example, we worked with a company that was doing a lot of child safety products, so things like baby locks and things like that. We use the EBC to communicate some of the values, that propositions about the brand as a whole, not just the product, but how they believe in things like sustainable types of products, how kind of communicating that they value children's future, things like that. They were communicating just things that they couldn't fit necessarily in the main product gallery. And sometimes, we just tell the same story that we see on the gallery, just in a different layout, and that's definitely because you don't always assume that people are going to see all of your product images in the main gallery. If there's a feature that's compelling enough, show it in a different format. So let's say it's about, like Nico was showing about earphones earlier, ergonomics of earphones. In your main Amazon product image gallery, the ergonomics will be showcased with, certain like a zoom in or close up or something like that, or just someone wearing it. And in your EBC content, you can kind of break down that feature a bit more in more detail. Maybe it could be down to the materials, a microscopic view of the kind of non like hypoallergenic, materials that you're using to keep it child safe and things like that. So I'm spitballing because I can't think of any particular product, but the idea is that
number one, either reiterate a feature in more detail that you didn't do in the first set of images, or showcase some brand values and more brand storytelling about you as a company that's still tied to the product. So there's some relevancy, and Amazon don't deem it as like some kind of marketing ploy, but rather there's a lot of relevancy in the product itself, right? And that's what you typically see. A lot of the top brands are reiterating and showing just more in-depth product photography, just so that there's more content to consume, and that's the simplest way to go about it. Hope that answers the question. Dave Ash, what canvas size do you recommend for images, and what format? So I've always found, no matter what platform design tools I've used in the past, this of course goes the same with Glorify. Oftentimes people come and say they exported one of our templates for Facebook covers and things like that and uploaded on social media, and it turned out to be bad quality. It's because the social media platforms compresses it. And with the rule of thumb that I've used, and that has been always successful for me, is just any design tool, Glorify included, export it in 2x2. Right? So Nico, you can show the export on how to export it in ×2. It's very simple. So if you pick an image, you go to the export, and then you'll have ×1, 2, and 3. And I recommend ×2 because what will happen is that all that pixel data, when you upload it on social media, on Facebook, they'll compress it. And because it's already a big image, like you don't see so much damage in the compression. So that's the answer for that. Eddie Werder, are you considering using WebP for export format? WebP, I believe, is for images, if I'm not mistaken. So far, not yet. We haven't planned it. If it's important, the good thing is that there are a lot of converters online, so it's not a big priority for us, since the most important ones are like PNG and the rest. For video, at this point, we just have MP4. And then we have Dave Ash again. What's the best format to export from Photoshop into Glorify? So initially, we took this off, but we'll probably introduce it again. You can drag and drop a Photoshop file inside Glorify Canvas, and what it will do is it'll flatten the layers and bring the layers inside Glorify. I think we paused that feature because they had some issues, but we'll reintroduce that. For now, I think the best way to do it is just take your Photoshop file and export it into any PNG or JPEG or SVG that you want, and then drag and drop it on Glorify's canvas. Maria Bod, how do you keep, so we already answered that question. Would image to vector tool be any interest in the future? Ryan, that's a good question. Well, I've been thinking about this, whether we want image to vector, and there's a few cool third-party tools that we can introduce if you want to make image into vector. And we're honestly thinking about it. One of the things we use is the background removal tool, and that's an API with a third party that we partnered with for years, and they do great. Of course, we're thinking about, they also include a vector, image to vector. So we'll ponder on that. And if there's a big enough use case, you've brought it up, we'll probably introduce it. Ilham Udin, is there any plugin to import HD images into Glorify? Well, you can just drag and drop any HD images into Glorify. We can tolerate a lot of big size images above, up to about, I think, 3,000 pixels plus, and that's pretty large, right? Maria, how do you keep the storytelling going? Okay, that was the same question. Anonymous attendee, will this... thought that was a name for a moment. Will this video, yeah, of course, this video will be available for watches in the replay. It'll be on our YouTube, on social media, and we'll have snippets of the most important parts. Maria Bard, show lifestyle product photos with the background. I think this was something to do with the product. Yeah, we can definitely use lifestyle photos, a great way to showcase products. And, you don't necessarily always have to have a strategic photographer for your lifestyle photos. Sometimes, let's say you're talking about like a kind of like an air freshener, right? You don't need the air freshener to be in a beautiful room to showcase the value of the product. You can find a beautiful home and have that as the background and have the product sitting on top of a graphic in the front, and communicates the same kind of message that, this is great for any modern home, So this is a strategy for lifestyle photos, and we should typically use. What's interesting is lifestyle photos, 90% of lifestyle product images I've done for e-commerce brands, we didn't take the photography originally. We just took a stock image and we combined them. And it's really easy to do that. Check out our lifestyle photo images. We have templates for it, and it can give you plenty of ideas to explore. Chad Carmack, are there any companies that are great examples? They do all the time for us. Are there any? They do it right all the time for us. I'm not sure what the question entails. If you're thinking about Amazon companies, I love Speedgen, which is a great like mobiles accessories brand on Amazon, and they got their success on Amazon. There's a lot of e-commerce brands I can talk about. Shar Geek. I mean, I'm personally a big fan of electronics, and they're, things like even certain apparel companies, not apparel, but like travel companies like TomTalk is a great one. They're on Amazon, and they do a great job with their product images. We can give you a list of these. I can't think anything off the top of my head, but I've explored some great companies on Amazon that you can use as examples for the future. And let us maybe create an article on this. I think it's a great idea for an article. So team, if you're watching this, let's create an article of the top Amazon listings, would be great. Maria Bard, can you show a non-tech product? A non-tech product. For the future, we can certainly do that. In this webinar, unfortunately, we run out of time, Maria. So in the future, do join another webinar and let us know if we, send your product our way, and we'll do a different image set. Let's see if there's anything else. We already mentioned the WP. We don't have any timeline on it. It's pixel. Flat design scale mitosa. Okay, I'm just reading some of the comment. There's one comment. So Abdul Kamle, sometimes you get a blank canvas when you export in PNG. I think the reason you're getting a blank canvas when you export in PNG was this issue that we showed you earlier, is that you're not actually putting the object inside the canvas, or the object is not inside a canvas, right? So Nico, if you can showcase product outside of the canvas, if you can take any product and put it on outside of the canvas on the... Yeah, so that's outside the canvas. Now, technically, you can export this, Abdul. So if you click export, but it has to be on the selections tab, you see? So now you're just exporting that image. Whatever you select, the selections tab is about anything you selected, you can export. Now, the next thing you want to do is, okay, well, I want to put it in a canvas, right? And so this is what we've seen a lot of people make mistakes. We're going to make the user experience a bit better so it doesn't confuse people very soon. But Nico, if you add a canvas on top of the image, would be helpful. So now this product image is inside the canvas. If you can see, if you drag the canvas, the image is coming along with it. That means if you export it, it'll export it with the image inside the canvas. It won't be blank, right? You can export it with a transparent PNG, and it will give you the same result. If you can try, because Abdul Kamle is saying transparent PNG is not working. So see if you can export it, Nico, in export, and then on the export, transparent PNG. It's So check this out. So you should have the correct result now. How Nico's done it. If you can open that, notice Abdul, how it's transparent, right? Now, what might be happening to you is that the image is not actually inside the canvas, maybe. So the way that happens, if Nico, if you can slowly remove it, make it on top of the canvas, but outside, if that makes sense. So now it's still inside, but at this point it's outside. So therefore, if you try to export this canvas, because the product is slightly outside of the canvas and it's not being cropped by the canvas, then what's going to end up happening is you're going to get a blank canvas, right? Because the product is not actually in there. And in fact, sometimes you can be fooled that you think that the product is in the canvas, but it's not. For example, Nico, if you can drag the canvas and drag it in the product, like a bit in the product, like whether behind the product, and leave it there. And now the product is actually not, it looks like it's in the canvas, but it's actually not. Like if you export it, you see? So you can actually drag it and the product is not following the canvas, it's not actually in the canvas because you just drag the canvas behind the image, if that makes sense. So just these nuances you have to be aware of, guys, when you're using the infinite canvas. This is how infinite canvas technology works. That's all we have time for, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Huge announcement. We have a new challenge coming up and new guests to interview very soon, where we're looking at bringing on some Amazon experts very soon that we're going to create some cool content on so that you can draw from their expertise. We're still yet to hear from them. But what we do know is definitely happening is we're going to be running a challenge. And what's this challenge about? Going to be about creating a set of Amazon product imagery gallery, right? So your product imagery for your Amazon gallery. And we're going to be doing this as a concept. I mean, you can do it for your own products if you wish, or you can do it as, if you don't have an Amazon product, you can take an existing competitor and do it for theirs, or you can even do a concept product by any product that you wish, right? So participate in this challenge. There's going to be some cool rewards that's going to be announced via the email newsletter. So check that out. And it's just a great opportunity for you guys to learn while, participating, right? And we're going to, may the best designer win this contest, of course. So participate, guys. Last but not least, we also have, as we often do in webinars, a little offer for those of you guys who did stick around till the end. Check out these couple of links over here. We got a 40% discount on both our annual plans and both our annual plans on both Pro and Business. Check those out. Huge opportunity. If you're not in Glorify already, you're not paying for a subscription, then do check this out because you can get it for 40% off, right? On the annual plans, huge value. And plus, we've got AI tools going to be released very soon, right? Another announcement is that we're integrating image generation directly inside Glorify's platform. And we're also going to be integrating copy generation. So you can generate actual text inside Glorify, which is going to be really cool, right? Everyone's been raving about AI, and we've been thinking about how to integrate it in a meaningful way so you can utilize it to its best capacity. And we're going to be releasing that very soon. So stay tuned for that. It'll be launched on our new website with more information, which we're going to be launching the new website very soon. But yeah, tune in, take part in the challenge, wait for the AI tools, and stay glorious, guys. I'll catch up with you guys soon. Do join Discord if you haven't joined Discord already. Very important that if you're not part of the Discord community, the activity goes up and down, but it's generally a nice place for all of you Glorify users to hang out. Some of our power users are there, and in fact, the challenge actually takes place inside of Discord. So if you're not in Discord, you can't participate. So do join our Discord. I'll quickly drop the link to the Discord while I'm here. So let me quickly do that. Now, do note that the discount links that I sent you is only going to be available for a short period of time. We're thinking of keeping it up for 24 hours. So if you don't, take action on it, we don't want to give it to everyone. Just people who want to reward people that actually came to this webinar and is, participating in actually using Glorify properly to its best degree. So for you guys exclusively, this discount will be available for 24 hours, and we'll very likely take it down right after that. But yeah, join the Discord for the challenge, and I'll catch up with you guys soon. Stay glorious, Glorify community. Take care. Bye.
Ciao.